You're listening to Raiding the Fringe with Poda, Ostinius, Nepids, and Dr. Lee. From ancient civilizations to the cutting edge of science, from exploring the outer reaches of space to the Atlantean depths, we discuss the topics of the unknown and the possibilities of the bizarre. Are you hungry to expand your horizons? Come get your fill as we raid the fringe.
Hello, everybody. With you, as always, is Ostinius, and with me is Poda.
What's up?
Neppets.
Good evening.
And Dr. Lee.
Hello.
Today, we are going to be broaching the subject of cults and secret societies. There's a great many throughout the annals of history.
Are there?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Many cults and
We
things.
totally skipped over the fact that you said broaching. We're bros.
We'll be broaching as bros these subjects. At any rate, secret societies that have a long subculture, such as like Skull and Bones, the Masons, and things of that nature, as well as approaching the Heaven's Gate, things of that nature, and things led by Jim Jeffries.
The Illuminati.
Everybody drink the Kool-Aid. We can get into the Illuminati if you'd like.
They don't shut us down first.
Who's Jim Jeffries?
Jim Jeffries. He was a guy who made a cult back in like the 70s and had a tremendous compound. He had thousands and thousands of followers, and they were going to be militaristic. And so once they were caught by the FBI to have whispers of being militaristic, they invaded the compound, and when they were coming to invade, they found that everybody drank of the Kool-Aid, and the Kool-Aid was poison. They killed, thousands of people.
I was under the impression that he was named Jim Jones.
Is it Jim Jones?
Yeah.
Not
My
Jim
grandmother
Jeffries?
went to school with Jim Jones. He had the Eden Project down in South America area.
So Jim Jones,
Wait, he had an eat-in project and then killed everyone with Kool-Aid?
I believe. Yes, I believe it was a. But I have a
I said
picture.
Jim Jeffries.
Oh, the comedian guy.
Is he a comedian? You just looked it up on your phone. You
I did not.
bastard.
But no, he actually lived in this area in Lynn, Indiana. I have a picture of one of his high school pictures because my grandmother was in his class, and she's actually standing right next to the man.
It is Jim Jones. It's way Jim Jones. All right. So anyway,
He's a cool guy. I mean, not cool guy, but it was a very interesting story.
he's a cool guy.
Just don't
Nemitz.
drink anything he offers you.
Well, it was said
No.
when he was younger that he would be very religious and like even have mock funerals for random birds or animals that he found dead in the grounds and stuff like that. He was very kind of a weird apple back then.
Well, one of the things that is common among cult leaders is that they are very charismatic. They draw people to them. They have a set form of beliefs that people buy into, and it leads them into this cult, which ultimately, whenever anybody signs up to, hey, you want to be a member of a cult? Sure. No, nobody says that. But it's like, hey, we believe in this. We're going to move into the woods and make our own society that believes in these beliefs. Is this a new society that you would like to help build? And then people buy into it. So
Seems legit.
Sometimes it's way more subversive than that. Some of the cults have been gathered one-on-one in such a way that you don't even let them know what they're getting into. You're basically feeding them ideas and nurturing them into thinking the way you want them to before they find out that they're a member of the cult.
true.
Charles Manson.
They also use very charismatic, like you said, but they also break people down to build them back up to exactly what they want. Just like, what the military does with our units. They do the exact same thing, but in a different way.
They have an ability to, at a glance, kind of break down a person's mental acuity and hit on those weak spots and build up the insecurities. So that way, you're an outsider. You've always been an outsider. Well, welcome to the upper crust. You know what I mean? And in that society, that becomes the upper crust, although it is apart from the majority of the main society.
Kind of like Nazis.
Nazis were a cult, I would say.
I mean, they weren't quite secret. Well, they
It was
did a
definitely a
lot of secret
movement.
stuff.
Yeah, they were not secret. They were secret at first until it became a movement. And once you got to a certain spark, it became a fire. You know what I mean?
I'm even talking about there's a light side and a shadow side to the Nazis, because besides the fact that we all know that they were doing, you know, all of the horrible stuff with the war and everything, but everyone talks about the secret experiments they would do, because they dabbled in trying to develop psychic abilities in people and special abilities like that, because they fully believed in a lot of occult topics.
Now, this is where we hit a gray area as far as what I'm talking about goes initially as a cult. You know, the Nazis became a force enough that they were able to inflict their beliefs on other people. So they would capture people and force them to do these experiments, even though those people personally didn't buy into what was happening. Right now, I want to detract from that. Not oppressive. You know, most cults and things like that, people really, really buy into. Let's
Focus on the brainwashed ones.
Let's pull back from cults, although not a whole lot. But let's get into secret societies, because it falls along the same things. Let's talk about the Freemasons. They're the Knights Templar, but that's a part of the Freemasons. Shriners
are a part of the Freemasons too.
Oh, okay.
We found them. We found the secret society.
I would like to turn the tables, you know, over to someone who has had more experience. So, Nep or Poda, would you like to take the floor a little bit?
Yeah, sure, definitely. So I have had quite a few experiences with what people call secret societies, but a lot of them call it, we're not a secret society, we're just a society with secrets. You may find that funny, but that is an exact term that they use. Current membership that I hold right now is the Knights of Pythias. So I am knighted under the Order of the Knights of Pythias.
Now, is that a sect of...
It's completely
Masonry?
No, it is a completely different entity all in itself. It's one of the first societies, secret societies, or let's just call it a fraternity. It's one of the first fraternities, yes, that was created in America shortly after the Civil War, around about in that time, and it holds up a lot of virtues that a lot of the brotherhoods or fraternities do, like, again, brotherhood, benevolence, and charity, and stuff like that. And you go through 3 stages, and you can look all this stuff up online.
So, well, first, you were a member of this society.
Yes, I believe I'm still a current member, hopefully. I haven't paid my dues in a while, but I'm pretty sure that I could just walk in and they would still accept me.
How are you initiated / incorporated into the society?
Through a process which is called ritualistic induction.
Ritualistic induction?
Yes, kind of like a convection oven.
You were put into an easy bake oven, like you sat in a room by yourself with a light on you, and then you came out? Mason?
Yeah. Well. As to not offend anybody that I may know or may do, like I did used to be a Mason. No, I used to be a Mason. I demitted from the lodge, so I am no longer considered a Blue Lodge Mason or a 3rd degree Mason, and I got up to the degree of Royal Archmason.
Okay, you're getting into things that we don't even know. You're Blue Mason, 3rd degree Mason.
Okay, those are
where does it start? I'm asking you.
It starts with a knock on a door. I'm not even joking.
Like a Jehovah's Witness?
Have you heard the great word?
You could be a Mason today.
That's probably because we keep secrets.
You want to know our secrets? Become a Mason.
Where it actively starts is you find somebody that is in the fraternity, and then you ask them or show them that you have interest. And then they will give you an application, and then you will send it in. You send the amount of money, depending on what lodge you're joining, is depending on how much money you send. Once that happens, then they do a vote. And once that vote happens, then if you are accepted, you get to come back and you take your first entered apprentice degree. After that, you go through and you go through a bunch of rituals. And it is, again, ritualistic induction. Like what they do is they give you basically do a play that you are the star of, but you have no words to say. Everybody else talks for you or talks with you. And that is honestly around a lot of the other societies or fraternities. That's basically how it is. The person being introduced to that fraternity usually is the star of the play. Usually they're blindfolded and they're directed by other members of that society.
Now, what about when it comes to like a group induction or something of such? Is there many people who
Yes.
you have to sit, and each person it goes over and over through this individual play, or what?
No. Of course, I and other colleagues of mine have been through multiple people going through the same degree, is what the free and accepted Masons call it. You have, I honestly forget what they call it in the Knights of Pythias, but again, it's basically a degree, but I think it's like a patronage or something like that. I believe like squire, page, squire, and then knight. So, but again, like the History Channel put up, I believe, if not the first Inter Apprentice degree, showed you it. Like you could go to History Channel and watch this, the full Inter Apprentice degree. And there's a lot of information, even the third degree, which is the Master Mason degree. There's information out there. You can find people doing it. Everywhere does it differently. Like England has their own special rituals they do. But then once you get into the higher aspects is where I believe that it starts being a little bit more secret.
A little bit more occult.
Ooh.
I mean, you're talking about rituals. You're talking about, even if these guys, level 1, are wearing dark robes, a candelabra lit hallway in a stone building. Yeah. Oh, no, 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 shinaye. Omenus erequiem.
Okay.
Yeah,
Again, there are some people out there that may listen to this that I do have total respect for, and they are still Masons. But what I can say
I'm just
is
curious.
that as a self-proclaimed Christian, that I gave my life to Jesus Christ, while I was still in this organization, there were things that I quite didn't understand why they were doing it. And I also do have a background of the occult. I was into that for a very long time, and I was saved. And there were things that I saw that I kind of had questions about that weren't being answered.
Okay. So we're getting a little too deep into the
We're getting
secret society.
touchy into the secrets that we shouldn't
slash-
say.
No, I'm not telling you any secrets. I was giving the reason why
Obviously you're not.
I no longer did.
No,
No,
but-
and you can find literally all this stuff. The Knights of Pythias, let's go there. You can literally go online and find exactly word for word their ritual book. Like you can literally read every word in that ritual. And actually, to be completely honest with you, out of all the secret society or fraternity rituals that I've seen, the Knights of Pythias had the most visually stunning. I loved it. The most, what the crap did I get myself into?
Like induction ceremony.
Ritual. Yeah, induction.
I mean, it's an induction.
That sounds awesome. Can you get specific?
I mean, I do have friends that are super close. I mean, so close to me that are in the Knights of Pythias. I mean, so
super
close that I could
close.
touch.
You could touch them at the corner of the table. Poda, would you like to say anything about the Knights of Pythias? We're getting into the things. I just wanted to ask how an induction was made, or your first thoughts on being a part of this brotherhood, as it were, this fraternal order.
I was very apprehensive in the beginning because I had no idea what anything was going on. And given my background and understanding of secret societies and or cults, so I tried to find as much knowledge on the group as I could before making any decisions. And I did find out, which interested me, was the guy who started it was a Mason. And then once he really got up in it and all the information in that group, he's like, I'm done. I'm out of here. This is not right. This is not for me. I do not agree. You guys are liars, basically. So, as Nep said, the information that you can find, it was started post-Civil War to reunite the country, the North and the South, in a common goal and interest that we're all here, we're all brothers, we're all part of the same family, we're all on the same team. And when he began, Masons that he was once friends with wanted to join, but then they started trying to take it over and make it another Mason-oriented society. He fought it and finally got him out. But that was after they kicked him out.
So what I want to get to the root of is in the induction of these two ceremonies and these brotherhoods, you said, okay, this guy's got a problem because it's too much like Masons. Mm-hmm. Were you ever in the Masons? No. Is the Mason a stocky group to get into? Are they too overcritical? Are they really crazy about their induction ceremony? How did you feel becoming a part of this brotherhood? That's what I want to get to the root of, because at every, the base getting in, you're listening to other people saying, oh, come in, this is great. Oh, come in, this is great. Oh, okay, so the person who invited me, you say this is great and this is why I'm here. But how far ahead have you gotten? Well, I'm like 3rd level. But it's like, you're toting this at 3rd level, but giving me promises that I could easily reach 5th level, so on and so forth. At the top, there's a charismatic leader that is getting these people to do that. What was the draw? Was it the draw that you didn't feel like you were a part of our brotherhood? You didn't feel like you belonged anywhere? You didn't feel like you were accepted in common society, so you felt like this is my shining star. This is my group of people that I'm going to be a part of.
Me, personally, no. I never had those feelings or cares to, I always felt like an outsider or a weird dude.
Even in the Knights of Pythias, you just joined because you were like, hey, this is an offering for me to be a part of something. Why not?
Given the research I did prior to making a decision to join, I found out what they represented I supported, which was homeland, family, friends, and charity, and helping those around you and your community. And I did not find any, nor have I seen anything that would be occulty.
Okay.
This is more like, as he said, fraternity. It's like a lodge, more or less. It's not, I wouldn't feel I'm a member of a secret society with thou shall not. Blah, no, none of that.
Okay, so you don't feel like you're
might as well
part
be the Moose Lodge.
It's not a secret society. It's just an unknown society. Nobody talks about it, so, nobody knows about it. It's secret. You know what I mean?
It's not popular and discussed like the Masons, no. But it is also, it's a group in the world, but they're not swaying political votes or controlling the media or, going for your kids' brains.
That's what I want to talk about.
All right, Lee, take it away.
Kids' brains.
Tell us what you want to talk about. I'm drawing at straws here because I'm like, okay, so secret societies, let's talk about the Masons because they're a huge thing. A Mason sees another Mason on the side of the road and they can tell them by the sticker that they have on their license plate, and they will help these people out.
Not even that. It's by hand gestures and how they stand, where their feet are, what they look like, how they shake your hand. There is a lot of difference so that they can know each other as in the darkness as well as in the light.
But how does this come to be? Who is the leader of the Masons?
Who's the Grand Poobah?
Yeah, you don't know. Nobody knows. They
that
say,
changes.
hey, you want to be a part of the Masons? Oh, yeah, okay. Well, then put on this robe and click your heels and say, Oomba Shabala.
I can totally give you like all the origin stories and stuff of different, because there's two. There's actually two different Masonic starting points. There was Masonic before a certain time and then a Masonic after a certain time. One used the Noah story more, and that's really old Masonic stuff. The more modern and even today use King Solomon. I mean, what would you like to know? I mean, like, okay, you said you're pulling at straws. What would you like to know about either the Knights of Pythias or the Masons?
All right, let me just guide this question for a moment, because I've got some questions too.
Okay, totally.
About the Masons, if I may.
Please
yes, definitely.
Because as an outsider,
I will try my best.
As an outsider, one who's never had anything to do with the Masons, my impression, like growing up, that's secret. No one knows about it. I heard the word, I'm one of the the happy few that actually gets to know what the Masons are. And then as I grow up, I realize, well, they're not pretending that they don't exist. They aren't an Illuminati. They just have a lot of secrets in their temple. And then as I learn a little bit more about them, not through research, because I'm not that interested in looking them up in particular, but it seems like everything on their first few levels isn't quite secret at all. I mean, that they don't go that public with it. They're not asking everybody to look at what they do. But if someone asks and wants to get into it, you can learn a little bit about it. And as you get up higher and higher, there's less and less that you're allowed to know until you get to that one point where there's the stereotypical dark robes and you can't see what goes on behind the curtain, and there are pentagrams on the ground and weird rituals that have two meanings, and one of them, they can summon creatures and stuff. And
I would say that it's a lot sooner than you think. And yeah, I'm not saying that they're in there summoning. I'm not.
Yeah, you're saying they summon demons and summon,
that's what I
summon
said.
Angels. I have heard Enochian chants being used in,
Well, that depends on what side you go, because then we can go even further and say, okay, well, you have the Shriners, the Shrine, the Marat Shrine, which takes a more Arabian Kabbalah aspect.
And that's what causes them to drive go-karts around.
Yes.
drive
And
go-karts.
wear fez hats.
Yes.
Yep.
And fun
And then you
children's
have-
hospitals.
And then you have the York Rite, which is supposedly supposed to be the Christian aspect of that, and it goes more into becoming what you said earlier, a Knight Templar. One has 33 degrees, the other one has 13, I believe.
But there is a point where things
It's-
get so secret
yeah,
that
yes.
even people within the society don't
Okay.
even get to know what's going on.
Let's
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
Okay, let's split this. Right now, we've been entirely talking about, secret societies and things of that nature, even
Yeah.
though they're really not that secret. It's just people really haven't delved too heartily into them.
We haven't talked about the secret ones yet.
Well, it's kind of hard to talk about them because I don't know much about any other fraternity anyways.
Well, right now we're keeping it light. We're broaching the subject, and we said
Broaching.
cults and secret societies. So
Yes.
let's go more along the cultist area.
Oh,
Cults, normally there is a charismatic leader who drags in their subjects and things of that nature. Anybody have any thoughts or ideas on any cults?
I mean, cults can be very scary in the aspect that it can be about anything. It doesn't matter what the topic is. It's just the matter of how charismatic the leader is and how passionate he can make everybody.
I would have to say there are even some cults that aren't focused around the leader. But once that essential core group gets together, it's self-perpetuating. And that goes along with what you're saying, where it's not always about the one thing. Sometimes, like, with L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology, that whether or not you would call it a cult now it's a religion.
Well, no, that's definitely still a cult.
That's still a cult.
It's still a cult, but at what point can you change that? Because couldn't you say Catholicism is a cult?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, yeah, I definitely would
There
agree.
really is no distinction between. It's basically the category of the user. So you could say that even Christianity is a cult. You could actively say that.
Yeah.
So it's basically your perception of what that is. Like the cults that, like Scientology, again, it's a wonderful place, and if you are a part of that, you could totally yes. Not Scientology. Let's talk about something different.
Okay,
I don't want to get sued.
No, in my place,
I'm not saying
Cthulhu.
anything positive or negative about anything. It's
The
just
cultists
interesting.
of Cthulhu, there is a basis of elder gods that come to the earth. and
Again, another cult
people
made by
buy
an
into
author.
it.
No.
That is, yes.
Would that Jedi Order
Not
would that
same.
be considered a cult now?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. The Jedi
But they
Order.
call that a religion, not a cult.
Right, but not only
But we just said religions are cults.
the fictional
Through the
based
eyes of the
Jedi
preceptor.
Order, but there is cult followings of popular
Movies.
Specific
fictions and
thing,
such.
yeah.
And so there is an established Jedi Order, of people who obviously have no control of the force because that's not real, but
they have
the
doctrine
system
of a code of
beliefs.
conduct.
Like,
yeah.
okay, so right now what's happening today, there is this group, and I shout out to them. I've just listened to some of their videos and stuff like that, but it is the Phantom Menace. Right, no. What are they called? Is that what they're called?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
That's the first Star
Fandom
Wars
Menace. My bad. Fandom
Menace.
Fandom Menace. They are a group of people that are very hardcore into Star Wars, and they have a lot of opinions, and a lot of them make sense, and it definitely goes with a lot of what a lot of old school Star Wars people believe.
Okay.
But there's definitely a following with them, and it's interesting.
Bodo.
Well, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you categorize the distinction between, and when would you label one or the other a cult or a secret society?
Okay. Truth be told, I would incorporate them in the same way. A cult or a secret society. Okay, so you have a head, and it's kind of a pyramid scheme system here. So this head gets two people under him to believe what he believes to the fullest extent. Then those two people get two people under them. So now you've got 1, 2, and 4. And those people are getting people to believe that doctrine based on now I'm a higher tier and you know what I mean? A pyramid scheme kind of thing. And as it trickles down, they get people who they believe are primed and ready to go into that same aspect of thinking. And it's not a blind recruitment basis. They don't go around asking random people. Now, cults maybe at a period of time, but they play on those aspects that are crucial that the leader has already set up. And it's the same thing with secret societies, but they are more crucial about the people that they let into their sect. So it is not word of mouth, as it were. It is more of I have sponsored you to be into this elite group, and then it becomes the same thing. It's ultimately the same thing.
So then we are surrounded by cults in our day-to-day life.
For me, the distinction between cult and secret society would be the amount of belief necessary. A lot of secret societies, they have their tenets and their belief system in like charities and family, like you were saying with the one, whereas cults believe in something that the general populace think is cuckoo. So if it questions your beliefs,
every woman has to have sex with the leader, that's a cult. Get out.
Okay,
right?
If
That's
they
not
let
a secret
women
society.
into the organization, it's a cult. No, I'm joking.
Well, no, actually, yeah.
We are interested in growing potatoes for those who are poor. We are a secret society. You must eat one potato every day for the rest of your life. That's a cult.
I would have to say the difference between a cult and a...
It's Ireland.
No.
Ireland's
a cult, yes.
Well, what I meant, though, given that parameter of cult stipulations, like big companies, we'll just say in retail or food, they also have that one leader. They have their mission statement. They have what you are supposed to say, how you are supposed to act. They have their polyester robes in the form of polo T-shirts.
With
and
me,
hats.
I believe that's more of like a corporation. That's not really a secret society. I mean, they are linear, I believe. Like they follow a path, but I don't think that they can be comparable.
But taking the word secret out of it, though, doesn't that make big corporations their own cult?
It kind of does, but that is a cult that is a lot different. When you're talking about a cult, they buy into it, and it is the means of their family's own perpetuation. And that means the same in corporations. But in corporations, they say, for you doing this, we will compensate you in this. And if somebody says, I don't want to have anything to do with it, they're free to walk out and okay, you're not going to get paid anymore in a corporation.
Well,
now, in a cult, it's one of those things where if you don't want to be a part of it and you're trying to walk away, then you will get badgered by other members of this community because now it's a community and you are harassed enough to either change your mind or you will face consequences of a dire nature for leaving this family. If they're willing to kill themselves for this one belief, they're not going to let you walk away without.
And
KFC.
I slightly disagree, only on the basis that it's a success rate thing. The corporation cult system is more successful. They can let you freely walk away.
Then,
they have the numbers and they have the books.
Then every system is a cult system because every system has its way it works.
Okay. A cult relies on special beliefs that they are not willing to.
In a corporation, the members don't believe it anymore once they clock out.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. That's a good one. This one says a cult is, just an idea as a social group with a socially deviant or novel belief practices.
Okay, that brings that. No, well, not necessarily. That
just
actually brings
socially
me to
deviant. You know what I mean? Just
brings me to another thing I was going to say.
Yes.
Let's talk about gangs. A gang is a cult.
Yeah, same thing. It's a cult.
A gang is a cult.
Or
But
Definite
you get
hierarchy.
beaten in
or a
and you
secret
get beaten
society.
out.
It's a secret society too, because they don't tell you your
Oh yeah,
secrets.
you just wear a color.
So it's
or
basically
something
the
like
same.
languages.
that. Yeah.
What was it? What was this one person I saw a meme that said, "Man, I'm really sick of throwing up blood all the time," and this other person's like, "Well, why don't you throw up Crip?" I laughed.
But it's along those same tiers. But gangs, it's a little bit more harsh. You're on the streets.
No, I mean that's actually not true.
Beat in, beat out.
Actually, before the laws passed, back in the day when hazing was a thing, actually some of the hazing, especially in the Shriner aspect, got a little bit out of hand. I can actually tell you that even in the Knights of Pythias, before that law was passed, there would be things that they possibly made you do, like, I don't know, not saying they would. No, more like put on a dress with no underwear on and go out and do jumping jacks in the middle of the city square. And
Nothing worse than a college fraternity wouldn't make it.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
And
Same-
those
same
are
thing.
idiot drunk kids.
I guess we're not even talking about secret
They're idiot
societies
adult
anymore.
drunks.
I guess we need a different. How about this? We find a difference between secret societies and fraternities. Because basically all the stuff I've been talking about
gangs,
is fraternities.
I would
The
say
Venn
gangs.
diagram's pretty wide on that.
Gangs would not be a fraternity because they have
I would
both.
say gangs would be a fraternity.
A
because it's
fraternity is a
brotherhood.
male, but they also have females in there as just as well.
Well, but
No, they do.
yeah, but do they clap arms with the females and say something like this, or they say, yeah,
I don't know. I've never been a part of the gang.
do your business.
If you wanted to go that route, the only
Suck my
way you
dick,
could
bitch.
call it a
That's what I was
fraternity
gonna
is if it was all male. And it's a sorority is all female.
Well, I'm just saying with a lot of these secret societies that we're talking about, like the Skull and Bones that you mentioned, but
Yeah.
and a lot of stuff
Fraternity
are
and-
fraternity based. Are there any? Can we think of any secret societies offhand that aren't fraternity based?
The Illuminati.
The Flying Spaghetti Monster. Nope, that's
I
not a
don't-
fraternity.
that's a religion.
Rastafarians.
That's a cult.
Pasta. It's pastafarians.
Pastafarians. No,
I
like but
pretended to be
serious.
one for a
Okay,
while. I was an
Fraternities.
impasta.
can we really? Can we really like find something that is a secret society that's actually not a fraternity? And I don't. The
Well, if we could
Illuminati,
find it, it
I
wouldn't
don't
be very
personally at this time believe it's a real thing. It's more of a cultural understanding of what secret societies are. I believe everybody knows about the Illuminati and they're controlling everything because they're trying to know something about a secret society. The act of actually Illuminati existing, I don't personally agree.
I believe I'm with you.
It's a cultural fad.
If you look back in the history of the Illuminati, it was started by a guy who couldn't get into any other
Yeah,
fraternities or secret societies, so he's like, I'm going to create my own. So
that's what a lot of people did actually.
yeah, and it became a thing. It's like, oh, these are the guys in the background. They're rejected from society, so they must know extra. No, it's all a myth.
No.
I think the big distinction between secret society and occults is budgeting and accounting. Like information.
Or like if
Because-
they're a
Class-
501c.
class.
Like
Yeah.
the cults are the ones like we're going out in the woods, and we got a compound, but no one's taking care of the books, so we kind of fickle out, and then we become apprehensive. The government thinks we're a threat.
You bet those fraternity brothers keep the books. Like, you know it.
But secret society, they've got
a secretary.
They pay more attention.
But can we honestly think of an actual secret society that isn't just a fraternity? Now, I know you can name others like, the Daughters of Job or the Order of the Eastern Star, but that's also the female branch of Masonry. You know what I mean? So it's not really the same. But I'm talking about an all-inclusive, it is a secret society that is not just a fraternity made by a bunch of men.
Sounds like you just put Masonry in that category by saying they have a female chapter.
Every fraternity has a female chapter.
Well, regardless of that, if we had heard of them as males,
it wouldn't be secret.
It wouldn't be a secret society.
That's what I want to put forth. There are probably a lot of secret societies out there
that we have no idea about.
No one's ever heard of, and 99% of them probably don't do shit, so that's why we don't care or know.
How about this, Lee? Lee used to own a house. It used to be located in our hometown. My first ever experience in a cult-like activity was at his house.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. He had a brother named...
Still do.
Sado?
No, his name was Matto.
Okay, cool. His name was Matto, and he and he made it. So it was like basically encompassing everything we've talked about. It was a gang. You got beat in.
Well,
it was like a secret. We had our secrets.
I was a part of that. You were a part of that.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't.
Poda.
No, definitely. Lee paid the rent of the house.
Yeah, Lee was
but his brother ran it like it was his own fight club.
My brother had a cult, and I had the secret society half, because I have to go in and work. While I was at work, you guys did all this crazy shit.
I'm not even joking. There were midnight raids at our house to beat the crap out of us. They literally pulled.
Not even at our house.
They literally, it was at my house. Yeah. But they pulled... They pulled the underwear off of they gave him such a super wedgie that they ripped it off of him and then poured their pee on their face.
A frozen 2-liter of
Mountain Dew. Oh, yeah, this happened at my house.
It was a 2-liter of Mountain Dew. They poured it out. They peed in the bottle.
That did not happen to me, by the way. It happened to another friend.
Yeah, it did not happen to me either, but it was a friend.
That poor guy that got his mohawk ripped out, so they took his hair and ripped a chunk out of it.
Okay, so Neppet says that it was boxers or it was underwear. It was actually gym shorts that he was wearing as boxers. It
doesn't matter. He ripped it.
It was a horrific event. That's why I'm saying.
You right now try to rip your underwear off from your back and see if it's anything but horrific.
All right.
No, but it's worse that it was gym shorts.
But he also indoctrinated us. He made us go through trials. He trained us, and we're 13 years old.
The moon is blue.
Yes, we literally had codes, and so I'm like, this encompasses all of the stuff we were talking about. It basically, we had our secrets. We are a gang.
Well, after
we didn't make no money.
So something else though. After we stopped hanging out,
Lee was making the money.
You had your own following of friends, as did I.
We were out there preaching it.
Wasn't it a strenuous? I have thought about this many nights.
He sent us out to preach to other people his doctrine.
Wasn't it a thin line? I was like, oh my gosh! As I watched these documentaries of cults and stuff, I was like, I could have easily been a cult leader. I'm so glad
he trained us to be cult leaders.
Do you understand? Cross that line.
This is a man that has manipulated tons of people, and it's ridiculous what he has done.
That, but even at the same point, I remember there were many times that you and him had this. To put it very kindly, a lady on call. That would
there was more than one.
Purchase you guys anything you wanted as long as you provided a service and stuff like that. There was
I cook a mean turkey.
there was a network of things happening.
That would be more like a cult. No, but not even that aspect about us going out and getting other friends and stuff and becoming leaders of that group. He basically taught us. He basically made us missionaries of his own will.
That messed up?
And I just came up with that now. I never thought of it because
I've been thinking about that for
years. When I left that group, I'm not saying I was a leader of you per se, Poda, but the group of friends that I arranged at that time, they would listen to whatever the crap I said.
No, I was entertained by hanging out with you. I had your back in a lot of situations, but there was places I would arrive and they would start posing questions to me about the occult or this or that. I'm like, you know what? I got someone you should meet. This could be really fun. And then it usually ended up going. I just wanted to see. I was entertained. I just really wanted to see everything that would happen.
Again, I guess we'd have to thank Matto for giving us the structure to become missionaries of his whacked out religion.
All right, so now I put forth. I will be the Secretary of Treasury. We will have our own fringe cult right now. We've got a recruiter. We've got our expert. I'll handle the finances.
T-shirts and foil hats will be provided later for a small fee or donation to the church.
We need to go above and beyond. Foil T-shirts.
Foil T-shirts. RatingTheFringe/BraytonForger.com.
Or even T-shirts with foil hats on them.
Now, we should be wrapping this up. We did patter around it. But I would pose to you, the listener, that look around you, find your friends, and find your religious establishments or even those that pose the opposite. Really think about who the leader is and what they're posing to you, and think about what you do in response as far as free will is encompassed, because it is very easy to be swept up into a crowd mentality, to be a part of a team and feel welcomed, as opposed to things that, you know, may or may not be something that you would normally do based off of your own free will. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any thoughts or questions on today's topic, please leave a comment. Or if you want to contact us directly with any thoughts or ideas for future episodes, you can directly email us at ratingthefringe@brainforger.com. Be sure to like, follow, and or subscribe for future episodes on Facebook, Spotify, Libsyn, or most podcast suppliers. We'll see you next time as we raid the Fringe.